Honesty, man. Honesty. I mean, being from a background of sales and I've trained salespeople and, just from being in this industry of digital marketing, there's a lot of scams out there. I brought it up when we first started that people think that you can get rich overnight. Most people have been doing this for a long time. The ones that you see that are real, successful, they didn't do it overnight, man. It took some time. There's very, very few far in between stories where it literally happened in a matter of weeks or months or whatever. It takes a lot of work, so don't fall for all that stuff. Make sure you do your research. And just honesty in general, man. Just be a good person. You know what I mean? Treat people with the respect that they deserve and how you want to be treated. We're all equal. That's the way I look at it. And if you do that, you should be good, good karma.
Heroes are an inspiring group of people. Every one of them, from the larger-than-life comic book heroes you see on the big silver screen, to everyday heroes that let us live the privileged lives we do. Every hero has a story to tell, from the doctor saving lives at your local hospital, to the war veteran down the street who risked his life for our freedom, to the police officers and the firefighters who risked their safety to ensure ours. Every hero is special and every story worth telling. But there is one class of heroes that I think is often ignored: the entrepreneur, the creator, the producer. The ones who look at the problems in this world and think to themselves, you know what, I can fix that. I can help people. I can make a difference. Then they go out and do exactly that by creating a new product or introducing a new service. Some go on to change the world. Others make a world of difference to their customers. Welcome to The Hero Show. Join us as we pull back the masks on the world's finest heropreneurs and learn the secrets to their powers, their success, and their influence, so you can use those secrets to attract more sales, make more money, and experience more freedom in your business. I'm your host, Richard Matthews, and we are on in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Hero Show. My name is Richard Matthews, and today I'm live on the line with Christian Lovrecich. Are you there?
I am right here, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Glad, and hopefully I didn't butcher your name too badly. You said it was a Croatian last name, is that right?
Yeah, it's a Croatian last name. A little bit. It's pronounced Lovrecich, but that's okay. Most people don't get it right, so it's all good. My whole life, it's, I'm used to it.
So yeah, I can imagine. I've got like 3 simple first names. I got Richard, William, and Matthews. That's my all 3 of my names. So it's like the dude with 3 first names.
That is the most American Pie name ever. Like the most American that goes with the flag. It doesn't get any more American than that. I love it.
So it worked out pretty well. So for those of you who are listening, following along, my wife and I are back to traveling. We are in, and I butchered this place too. You knew the name of it. It's Opaochi. I can't even pronounce it. It's some Indian place. Okeechobee in southern Florida. And you're coming into from Fort Lauderdale. How have you guys been surviving the whole, global pandemic down there?
People don't listen. So yeah, I guess we're good. I'm good. I'm locked up at home. So I try not to step outside unless I absolutely have to, no matter how beautiful it is and how bad I want to go to the beach or whatever. But people don't listen. So it's, I have a 1-year-old in the house. So I don't want to risk going out there and catching something. You know what I mean? It's
I know. And Fort Lauderdale was hit really hard. So
yeah, all of South Florida, because people don't listen down here. People do whatever they want pretty much. So, it's not good.
Well, hopefully the thing will start coming down here soon. What I want to do real quick for our audience is just introduce you so people know who you are, and then we'll jump in and start talking through your story. So
sure.
Currently, Christian is a serial entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of Pixel Feed Media, which is a digital media agency specializing in scaling e-commerce brands from 6 figures in sales to 7, 8, and beyond using the power of Facebook ads and other digital strategies. You're also the host of Pixel Feed channel on YouTube, where you teach Facebook ad strategies along with anything and everything related to digital media, marketing, and sales. You're also the host of Pixel Feed Radio podcast, an interview format talk show where you talk with fellow colleagues in the industry, as well as a variety of guests and their personal experiences, who share their personal experiences along with their expertise in business and entrepreneurship. So with that sort of brief introduction, Christian, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're known for today? What your business is like, who you serve, and what it is you actually do for them.
Well, I would say number one is definitely, running Facebook ads. So I come from the background. I started running Facebook ads because I launched my own stores over a decade ago. And that's how I learned. I got screwed by an agency. So I was like, you know what? I can learn this. So I did. And I kept up with it. And I still have a couple brands. And the more successful I became with those brands, the more people that kept approaching me to do it for them. And at first I wasn't really keen on it. There's this thing called imposter syndrome. And I had it really bad because The
Yeah,
problem
absolutely.
is when you do what I do, you hang out with a bunch of marketers and a lot of people do the same thing that you do. So you forget that you're in this world all day long and that people don't know about this world. So I wanted to be responsible about it, and I didn't want to take people's money until I felt comfortable to do it. So believe it or not, it took me a long time before I said yes to the first person. And then once I did it, I realized how much I'd helped and how happy, they became because, their stores were successful or whatever. And that was like, even though I don't have to do it, I decided to branch into that side of business as well, besides my stores, because I enjoy doing it with the right clients. Like I have the choice now of working with whoever I feel like it. I've been doing this for so long that I don't have to just grab any client that comes my way because I need it. I have the choice of picking who I want to work with. And, the brands that I work with now are, very well known brands, and most of them at least. So it's really fun to work. You get to work with their marketing team and the creative side of things. And, it's different when you have their whole team behind you and you have access to all this crazy designers and video editors and all that stuff that really can take your campaigns to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know particularly on Facebook, the space is only getting more competitive. So it's probably very useful to have a whole team of people to
Yeah,
create assets
absolutely.
and things
So, I
like that.
mean, I tell people all the time, 2020, it's the year of the creative. If your creative is not standing out, you're not going to be successful on Facebook. The platform is very unstable. They keep rolling out updates. One day it's a great day on Facebook ads, the next day it's not. So if if you don't have your costs down to a T and your creative is not good, you're not going to be successful. And a big part of that is going to be creative. I mean, the ultimate goal for Facebook and Google and all those platforms is to one day for you to just upload your video or your picture, and then they're going to write the copy for you. They're going to run the campaigns automatically through AI. We're still far away from that, very far away from that. I would say at least 10 years. But, they keep getting better and better as they go. So, the day of what I call the day of reckoning, where all you have to do is just upload that creative and do nothing else, only the creative people are the ones that are going to stand out and get the better results. So, it's a big part of it for sure.
So just in sort of in light of that, are you seeing like a lot of it is video creative now for e-commerce brands?
It's funny that you bring that up. For a while there, video was number one, like because Facebook was pushing video really hard because they were trying to compete with YouTube. They still are. That's why they have Facebook Watch. So they were really pushing video creatives more than anything. And video creatives did really well. But lately, in the past 2 months, if you're, for those of you listening, we're in October 14, 2020. So the past 2 months, it completely shifted. Now it's pictures. Pictures are completely crushing it on Facebook for some reason. Videos are not getting the reach that they used to and the click-through rate that they used to. I'm pretty sure it's because the platform are not pushing it as hard. That's what it seems like to me, at least when I look at the stats. But don't get me wrong, if you have a good product with a video that stands out, it's still going to get you really great results. So think about a product like something you would see in an infomercial, where you showcase the product being used and fixing a problem on the spot, or a really good engaging video ad, like anything from the Herman Brothers. Those are the guys who did the ad for Squatty Potty and I can't remember all the other stuff. I mean, I remember the videos, but I can't name the products.
Poo and
Yeah. All those products, which as a matter of fact, one of the accounts I'm handling, one of their creatives is from those guys, and it crushes, man. It just crushes. They have that formula down to a science, So if you have very good videos like that, you're going to do really well. The problem is, most people that start running Facebook ads or they're learning or they're not spending big budgets, they don't take the time to do the research when it comes to the creative or really spend the time on the video or the pictures, and really testing those out. And that's where they miss out. Most people think they make the mistake of thinking that, Facebook, it's magical. And if you hack your ad sets, if you do a manual bid or, if you duplicate or do this, do that, you're going to get magical results all of a sudden. And that's not it. There's no secret to it. I mean, it's a way to do things, but there's no like a crazy secret that only guys like me know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still knowing how to sell to other human beings.
Absolutely. You gotta hit the, you
Awesome.
gotta bring those, you gotta bring up those pain points and then drive that knife right through them and offer the solution. You know, you gotta hit them when it hurts. And if you know how to hit those buttons, those emotional buttons, people are gonna convert and buy.
So when on Facebook, have you noticed a price point range for products that seems to sell really well in the e-commerce space, or is it all over the map or?
It's all over the map. I mean, I have accounts where the cheapest product is $300 and the average order value is 500 and up. And that has a cost of acquisition of anywhere from $20 to $60. Then I have accounts that, have a supplement, which is $40. And, we're like barely breaking even because it's so competitive in the supplement market. It's really all over the place. But right now, costs are all over the place because we have the election coming up. So you got both parties like literally dropping millions on top of millions,
For ad
on
space,
ads,
yeah.
and they target everybody. So that takes a lot of the inventory space. And, again, they're doing updates. So the algorithm is off a little bit. So the auction is off a little bit. But there's ways to control it if you know what you're doing. But, I mean, you can sell anything on Facebook. There's always a solution to everything. Like, for example, if you have a product that's $40 and for some reason right now everything's super expensive, right? And you cannot get that cost per acquisition below 40 or below 20. Well, there's other ways that you can do to combat that. You can offer bundles where you will do quantity breaks, get 3 and get 20% off. Now your average order value is $70, right? And that's how you combat your CPA. So there's ways around it, but yeah, you can sell anything on Facebook. I mean, the thing that tell people that the things that sell the most and get the best response, it's something that people are passionate about and a necessity at the same time. So how do I put this as an example? So think about dog people or cat people. People love their cats, right? If you're a cat person, you love your cats, the crazy cat lady, right? So if you put a toy in front of that cat lady for their cat, they might buy it because they love their cat and they're super passionate about their cats, right? But if you put a cat product that's a necessity in front of them, they're most likely to buy it. 99% of them will probably pull the trigger and buy it. So for example, instead of a toy, like an electric litter box or, something that's a necessity, like a food product or something like that,
Yeah, that they have to have for the cat.
They need it. Yeah, they need it. They have to have it.
That makes a lot of sense. And so that do you find that just on the Facebook network or on any of the ad networks you run ads
No,
on?
that's just straight up, marketing. Anything that if you're looking for that impulse buy, it has to be something that's mixed with a necessity and around a passionate audience. People who are not successful on some of these platforms, especially Facebook, it's, you're trying to sell you're trying to sell the wrong product on the wrong platform, right? Like a lot of people make the mistake. They try to go in there and sell some type of B2B product. You know what I mean? Some of them you might get some results, but people are not on Facebook to buy business products or like to find an accountant. You don't see an ad and it's like, oh, I need an accountant. I need to sign up right today, right? It does the work, sure. I'm sure you can make it work if you really work hard at it. But if I was going to do ads for an accountant, I will do that on LinkedIn or Google, right? When people on Google, they're actively seeking for something. So if you have a pipe break at your house, right? If a pipe breaks at your house, what are you going to do? You're going to go to Facebook to find a plumber? No, you go straight to Google like, a local plumber that can come out and fix it right away. So what you can do is you use Google for that. And then you can retarget on Facebook as a combination, to combine things and get your maximum reach. But if you were looking for plumber, I would definitely not go for Facebook first. If you were advertising for a plumber, you could do you can sell packages for maintenance packages ahead of time. We'll come out and look at all your pipes and look at your water here and make sure you're ready for the winter. So nothing freezes and breaks. You can sell that type of stuff, but not when somebody's actively seeking for a solution.
Yeah. One of the things that we did for a long time when I was running an ad agency was we would do something I called a centrifuge funnel, where we would take all the people on Google who are searching actively for B2B stuff, and send them to a landing page that was like for a consultation call or something that immediate, and only like 5 to 10% of those people would ever convert into leads, but the other 96% had some sort of an interest or they wouldn't have landed on your page. So then we would just follow up with them on Facebook.
Absolutely. Yeah.
all
So, I
sorts of
mean, I don't deal
retargeting content.
much. I've done the whole lead generation thing before in the past. I stopped because no matter how good of a funnel you have and how dialed in you have, unless you're working with a company that has a true sales process in place, like, I don't know.
Yeah, they have to be able to convert the leads in order for them to keep wanting to
Right.
pay you.
Right. And no matter, no, I get paid up front. I don't care. But, I don't want to deal with the drama of like the leads are bad. I'm like, the leads are not bad because the leads I'm giving you are the same exact leads that I'm giving as somebody in California. You're just getting the ones from Florida. The process
Yeah.
is exactly the same. The messaging is exactly the same. So why are
And
those
it's
people
working
closing
for
like
them.
70% of them? And why are you only closing 10% of them? You know what I mean? And you're talking to somebody who came from sales before all this whole digital thing. So you're not gonna lie to me when it comes to the sales side of things. I know you don't have a sales process down. Most small companies don't. Big ones do.
Yeah.
So
So what I want to talk about then is your origin story, right? So every good book hero has an origin story. It's the thing that made you into the hero they are today, right? And we want to hear that story from you. Were you born a hero? Or were you bit by a radioactive spider that made you want to get into doing Facebook ads? Did you start in a job and eventually move to becoming an entrepreneur? Basically, where did you get from that you ended up here?
Oh
Or start
man,
from?
it's such a mixed up story. So I grew up in a family of business owners, entrepreneurs. My dad, his dad, my grandfather's brother, they all had construction companies in South America and Venezuela when they went there when the oil boom went down back in the 50s or whatever. And they built this massive companies. And so, the idea at one point was for me to be in the family business and construction and all that good stuff. And then I don't know, if you're listening or how much you know about international affairs, but Venezuela is basically a mess now. It's a dictatorship.
Yeah.
It's gone. I mean, you can't do anything. So long story short, at one point my dad saw it coming. He's like, you know what? Sold everything, moved to the States. So we moved to the States and, obviously, he didn't start another one. So it's not like I could go into the family business. But the cool thing about it is that, when I was a kid, I was always around him. Like I would chill, I would hang out in his office and I would listen to the conversations. And my dad will, he always did a good job of teaching me what he knew since I was a kid. Like this is, when you're negotiating, you do this, or this is why you do this, and it always stuck with me. But I was a little lost, man. I was never one of those kids who was like, did I sell things on the side? Yeah, I did that. But I grew up with money. And this is the problem when you grow up with money. When you grow up with money, you have a fail safe. Like if something goes down, you're taken care of for the rest of your life, especially with the type of money that my family made. But when I didn't see comings, at one point, my dad lost a lot of it because of everything that happened in Venezuela. So at that point, I was like, oh, crap, I'm not taking care of for a mess. I better figure something out, because I was messing around. I was just partying and doing all that. And then at that point, I started coming up with ideas and, I bought a business in Dallas, went there. I was there for 10 years and, I hated it. It was in the car business and I did it. I got into the car business because I love cars. I was obsessed with cars like every other dude out there growing up. Right. And I realized that I didn't like it. I hated it. Then the economy crashed, and that's why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a year off, and came back to Florida, to Lauderdale, because my best friend, he was here, and he's like, dude, just come here and figure, until you figure out what you want to do. So at that point, I was pretty, beat up after the crash. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna take some time off, and I actually got a job with a company doing marketing for them, but it wasn't digital marketing. It was like for trade shows and stuff like that. And that's what ignited the marketing side of me again. And once I started I saw something for how to sell t-shirts on Facebook or something like that. And this is a long time ago. This is when Facebook first became public with ads. And I got this little course for like $300 and I learned like the basic of Facebook ads, which it was nothing back then. And once I threw my first ad that was successful, that made me like $2,000 in one day, I was like, okay, I'm hooked. Because I always wanted to sell something online, but I didn't know what, because I always been a computer geek. And that was it, man. I see your cat back there. That's awesome. So
Yeah, he's jumping in and saying hi.
yeah. So yeah, that was it, man. I got hooked on it and it became an obsession. And I guess I was like video games and stuff like that. So looking at the ads dashboard, it's like, okay, what kind of high score can I get today? And then, just the previous knowledge from owning a business and growing up with businesses and stuff like that carries over to everything that's e-commerce and sales and all that stuff. So I never stopped learning, kept learning from there, learn from the best. And it was a slow evolution. I wasn't one of those guys that, that started doing Facebook ads and became a millionaire overnight. It wasn't like that at all. Like, it was very, very slow roll for me. I was making money, but it wasn't like the crazy money. It's like, oh, I bought a Lambo the next day. It's not,
Yeah.
most people, that's not how it happens, So, and I just kept going. It became an obsession. And then at one point I wanted to give back, to the community because I see a lot of people asking me questions. So I was like, you know what, I'll put out a YouTube channel. So I did that and, try to put in like 3 videos a week. Depending how busy I am. And the response has been great since I haven't tried to sell him anything yet, but I probably won't, just because, YouTube, you make money with ad revenue. So that's enough for me on that end. So that's it, man. And, just took it to the next level from there.
And that's how you ended up where you are now. How did you start getting in? How did you sort of narrow down on the e-com space to be where you wanted to be running ads?
Because I started with e-com. I always wanted an e-com brand. I wanted some type of e-com brand, and it's more challenging. I like the fact that I can have 100 SKUs, 100 products in my store, and I can make different combinations. And the way you scale ads, the way you run your campaigns, it's a lot more complicated. That takes a lot more skill. And again, since I'm obsessed with Facebook ads, it's like a video game to me. I'm always trying to look ways to take it to the next level. So that's why I love it. And I love branding, and I love, building brands and everything that goes with it. I grew up working retail and all that stuff. So when I did some lead gen because people were asking me for lead gen, I was like, sure, I'll do lead gen. It was just too easy. It was too easy. Like, to run a lead gen ad, if you know what you're doing, it takes literally 10 minutes to throw up the campaign out there. And then there's not much more you can do locally. It's a local offer. So you can't only scale it so much. E-com ads, you can scale to the whole world, if whoever you're working with can ship all over the world. And again, once you get to a level when you get to work with big brands, something like, Nike, I don't work with Nike, by the way, but it'll be a dream come true, with those type of brands. It's a whole different ballgame because everybody knows who Nike is, right? So the response, it's a lot different. And it goes back to I have a whole team I'm at disposal, that takes my ads to the next level and my results to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. So my next question for you then is about your superpowers, right? So every iconic hero has a superpower, whether that is a fancy flying suit made by a genius intellect or the ability to call down thunder from the sky. In the real world, heroes have what I call a zone of genius, which is either a skill or set of skills that you're either born with or developed over time, that really energize all of your other skills, right? It's like the common thread that goes through everything that you do. And the superpower is what sets you apart and really helps you help other people slay their villains and go on top in their journeys. So with that sort of framing, what do you think your superpower is?
I don't know about like one superpower. I know for a fact, one of the things that make me successful in this business and that has made me stand out is that I come from a background of sales, right? Like real sales, like on the phone, like cold calling, knocking on doors, the whole 9 yards, because before all the digital stuff. And most people who do what I do, and they're very good at it. I know people who of course are better than I am. They're more on the analytical side, attention to detail, to numbers and stuff like that. But they're very introverted people. So they don't have the sales side of things. So they can run the numbers and they can do all these data analysis and all this crazy stuff. But when it comes to the sales side of thing and your messaging and your copy and your creative, they don't have that down because they've never done it themselves. So I have like a good mixture of being an extrovert and sales as well. So that's what makes me, I want to say, kind of a deadly weapon, because I know when you combine both, it's what really brings you the results. If you concentrate, to be honest with you, if you concentrate on your creatives and your offer, your product offer, even if you're half-assing your ads, you will still get results, right? But if you can be the most technical, you can be Lord Zuckerberg for all I care on that dashboard on Facebook ads, but if you don't know how to sell your product or position that offer with good copywriting and a good creative that hits those emotional points with that audience, it's not going to convert. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got to have a little bit of both, you know?
So is that one of the things that you help your clients with when they come in, is helping them actually put together offers that will convert on Facebook based on the product offering that they have?
Yeah. So basically when the clients that I work with, I consider them partners. They're not just a client. So a lot of the quote unquote agencies out there or consultants out there, like especially for Facebook ads, are like, okay, we'll run your ads for you and that's it. Just send us what you got. And they don't bother to look at the site. They don't bother to look at the conversion rates on the site, how products are performing, all that stuff. When I come in, with my team, we look at everything. I'm looking at your site. What's the conversion rate on the site? Is it too low? Like if it's too low, we need to make changes to make that conversion rate higher because that's going to bring you better results. What's the navigation pathway that your clients take when they land on your site? Are you recording every single person that lands on your site? Are they getting stuck anywhere on the site? Where are they clicking? Why are they clicking that? Did we split test, product pages? Did we split test pricing? Did we split test the position of the add to cart button? How many steps does it take from landing to checkout? If it's more than 3, we need to fix that. So, even some of those, brands have good sites already. They don't look at the smaller details that people like me look at because, I play with my own money from day one. So every money spent hurt, right? If I lost money, some of these brands, they
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
budget. They're like, we got to spend 100 grand this month. So we get, 150 next year. So they're just concentrating on spending the most they can and they still get results, right? But when you make those tweaks, it's amazing like how much farther you can take those results, right? I mean, I've worked with brands
Yeah.
that
So
we brought the results as high as 33% higher in 1 month, just by making small tweaks to their website.
that's really cool. And there's definitely a lot to be said for knowing they call that the conversion rate optimization side of the game, right? And not just the ads.
Absolutely. It's not only the conversation, but then you have to look, okay, what's your email sequences? What's the back end? Are you upselling? How many emails? The thing that I see the most, not with the big brands, with the smaller brands and the people who are starting out, they forget about email. My wife will tell you, I never check my email. I'm like, yes, you do. You buy stuff all the time. You just only pick and choose which ones you're going to open. That's why there's 6,000 in your inbox. But
Yeah.
you still check your email. Everyone does. So if you know how to craft your messaging to your client or to your customer, trust me, they're going to open your email. I have e-com stores where the open rate on email is 60%, 62%, just because they're really passionate about the products.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you guys are doing like email follow-up with past customers to increase
Oh
sales?
yeah, man. We have touch points everywhere. We have post-purchase sequences. We have comeback sequences, drop cart sequences. We make 3 different offers a week at least. The trick to that, I mean, not really the trick. The way you get results with that type of stuff is, it's by offering value and then making an offer, not just sell, sell, sell. There's different ways you can segment your audiences through email. You can segment based on, how much they spend at your store. Are they recurring customers? Are they first-time customers? Are they customers that haven't bought from you in the past 3 months? And this is how you segment your list. And that's how you can talk to them directly. Hey, we haven't seen you in like 3 months. What's going on? Here's 25% off. I mean, that's a short version of it, but you get the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and it's really fascinating, right? Because like I know we mentioned before the call that I'm working with an e-com company, and our goal is to grow sales. And like just listening to you talk, I'm like, we need to do some of those things and some of those things,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So like I know from working with companies before that like you're hitting like all those cylinders, like all the you're helping them get their engine from firing on one cylinder to getting it firing on all the right all 8 cylinders in the engine kind of thing. So it's when you actually pour the gasoline on, which is the
Yeah, I
ads, that
mean,
it
if you have
runs.
absolutely, if you have a proven product, if you have a proven store, that's why I only work with clients that are already doing sales because they're already proven. The product is proven. It sells. People like it. So this is where you bring me in to, like you said, pour gasoline on the fire and take it to the next level because I know how to scale it. But it's a process. You can't do it all at the same time. So when you go in there,
Yeah,
you look at what's going on. The first thing that I'm going to do is going to do an audit, to the Facebook account because everybody's running Facebook ads. And then based on that audit, you'll be amazed how many horrible accounts I see from quote unquote huge agencies from, Manhattan that they just, they serve all these huge clients, and they'll stick like a junior media buyer that just graduated from college and has never run an ad before, and then they just set and forget about budgets. You can't really do that. So you do account audits, and then you see where they're hurting, where the revenue is dropping. We have a whole process that we follow to do all of this, but you do one by one, and it's a process. You fix one thing first. Once you get that dialed in, you move on to the next thing, and so on and so on and so on. Once you have them all lined up, it's basically endless split testing. You always have a control, and then you always have a variable that you test to see if you can take it even higher, better results.
Yeah, absolutely. So the flip side then of your superpower is your fatal flaw, right? So just like every Superman has his kryptonite, or Wonder Woman has their bracelets of victory that she can't remove without going mad, you probably have a flaw that's held you back in your business, something you've struggled with. Maybe, like me, it was something like perfectionism that kept you from shipping your products, or a lack of self-care, which means you let your clients walk all over you, which is something I struggled with for a while. But more important than I think what the flaw is how have you worked to overcome it or rectify it in your business so you can continue to grow? So, people who are listening might learn a little bit from your experience there.
Workaholic, man. It's because I enjoy what I do. That's my biggest flaw, and I'm a people's pleaser. I like to please people, especially clients. So when I started, I would answer the emails at, if I was up at 1 a.m. on a Saturday, I didn't care. I was like, oh yeah, I'll answer right away. And, unfortunately, when you do that, people take advantage of you, right? And I learned very quick that I had to put a stop to that. And still it hurts, man. Like sometimes I'll be sitting there and I see an email come in. I'm like, if I answer that, then I'm going to train him that I'm available 24/7. That's just not the case. You got to set boundaries for your clients. And I hate to say like that boundaries, but I'm talking about like boundaries of like, you can contact me at any time from 7 a.m. till like 7 p.m. That's cool with me. But, Christmas Day at 10 a.m. because you didn't see your ad today. Come on. You know what I mean? It's like, it's thinking, stuff like that. I mean, I don't have it. Time management. I think that's another weakness that I have. Time management for sure. I had to learn to put everything on a calendar. Before that, I was all over the place. So, I mean, organizing, being organized, I guess it's
that lack of self-care, right? At the early point where you're letting your clients walk all over you and learning how to set the boundaries. I know I had to do the same thing where I remember early on, I would let my clients, I'd book calls whenever they wanted and respond at any time. And then I finally got to the point where I was like, I can't do that.
You can't, you really can't.
I have a wife, I have 4 kids, right? I have a life to live outside of my business and working stuff. So now it's like, you have to work on training your clients. Or like for me, a lot of my clients, we have a lot of phone call type of interaction. So I'm like, so they'll call me and be like, hey, I'm not available right now. Make sure you book a time on my calendar. You have, open access to this. Like I've got dedicated time for my clients that you can just pick a slot. We'll do it. And so I train my clients to go through that. And it's not that I'm not available for them. It's just that, like I have to, put work in its box, so to speak.
Well, the problem with me was, it's like you said, I didn't have a set way to tell like, here's my calendar, just pick a time that works for you. It was just whenever they felt like, I was like, sure, we'll do it. And, at one point I was not eating lunch because I was just trying to get stuff done all day long, or I had calls in the middle of the day. So there wasn't that boundary of like, I need to take time for myself during the day. I wasn't going to the gym anymore. So I felt lethargic. I felt tired all the time. And when you don't have time, when you don't take the time to actually like stop and eat something, you're going to eat whatever junk food it's at reach. Right. I mean, at least that's what I did. And then, on top of it, to deal with the stress, I was going out and drinking, with my friends, happy hour and all that stuff, every chance that I had. And, the older you get, your body can't handle that anymore. Right. So I cut all that out. I started eating healthy again. Now I have a kid, so I want to spend time with him at least an hour or 2 a day, right? Like in the afternoon. So yeah, that's what I did, man. Calendar, and it's like, this is the times I'm available.
Self-care in the calendar. It's crazy how important those two things are, and how often, particularly I've seen young entrepreneurs, right? People who are just getting into the game don't realize how important those things are until you get yourself to a point where you're starting to cause yourself damage, right? Like not eating lunch, or not going to the gym, and realizing like, hey, I'm not the healthy fit 20-year-old anymore that just automatically is healthy no matter what I do.
Yeah, and in your mind, at least this is the way I am. I still think I'm like literally 25 in my head, and I just turned 40 because the way that I think, yeah, I'm more mature now. But I don't know, man. You feel young. I feel young. You know what I mean? So it's like I still
Yeah, yeah,
think my body. I have the body of a 25-year-old, and that's not the case. You know,
yeah.
it's
You got
just
to work a
not.
little harder.
Yeah, you do. Like for
Uh,
example, we went out to brunch on Sunday, and I was eating a freaking salad of all things, and I cracked my molar in half. You know, it's like, how does that happen? So I spent half
well,
of my Monday at the dentist getting a crown put in. You know, that's what happens when you're 40. You just start breaking down.
yeah. The other thing that I've noticed too, you mentioned you have a kid, right? I have 4 kids now, and it's one of the things is like now before you do something, the
Yeah.
thought passes through your head of like, hey, I have other people who rely on me, like my
Yes.
children.
Yes.
If I damage myself, I damage them as well,
Oh yeah.
which
Listen,
is
man.
like not a thing you think about before you have
Yo,
kids.
before him, I will go and I used to go on trips with my friends. I used to call them the self-destruction tours and all this stuff. Because we just party. We just went hard, you know, and we love having a good time and drinking and all that. And, you know, as soon as I knew he was coming, he was born, it's like, all right, now it's not just me, right? I got a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
one to take care of. So as soon as I found out he was on his way, man, everything started changing too when I was getting old, you know, as I got older. But certainly it's a whole different mindset. It's like you said, it's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Right. And it's really learning how self-care fits into your business, right? And how important it is, right?
it
That
is.
if you're not healthy and you're not feeling good, you're not well rested and you're not well trained, like you can't bring your mind to bear on the creative problems you need to solve in your business.
Like I used to joke around, man. It's like the culture that I come from, you know, in South America, Minnesota, it's a very like party culture, like drinking and having a good time and eating. And I'm half Italian, so the other side is exactly the same. And you know, I used to be like, you know, every win is an excuse to have a party and go out and have a good time and drink with your friends, your family, or whatever, and or any holiday for that matter, right? So I used to think it's like, man, all these people with all this money, like they have all the money in the world, they should be going on yachts, having a big party every weekend, and blah blah blah. And now I'm that guy who goes, you know, 2 months without even having a sip of a drink because I want all cylinders firing at 24/7, just because of the energy levels. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
only sleep like 6 hours now and I'm good to go, man. I open my eyes, I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go, you know? And it feels great. It feels fantastic.
You have shit to do. It's time to get working and get
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
And
If you want to be successful, I'm telling you, man, unless you're a celebrity, you know, and even at that point, you have to cut off all this stuff. I mean, I'm not saying cut it off completely, but definitely a balance. And if you're really serious of taking stuff to the next level and doing it right, you definitely have to stop and really take care of yourself. You really do.
absolutely. Right. So that's an important flaw for people to work on. I know it made a huge change in my business, and like just over the last year, I started working with a high performance coach.
Yeah,
It's changed a lot in my life and my business. So it's really definitely something to take into account when you're trying to grow a business, no matter what it is. So
absolutely.
yeah. So my next question for you then is about your common enemy, right? And every superhero has, an arch nemesis, right? It's a thing that they constantly have to fight against in their world, right? In the world of business, it takes on many forms, but generally speaking, you put it in the context of your clients, right? And it's a mindset or it's a flaw that they have, right? That you're constantly have to fight to overcome, so that you can get them the results that you're trying to get. Right. And so if you had your druthers and you had a magic wand and every time you brought on a new client, you could just bop them on the head and get rid of that mindset so you could work with them better. What is that arch nemesis, that common enemy in your business?
It's Facebook. Facebook is my nemesis, man. Lord Zuck. Listen, Facebook is very powerful when it works. This is why it's my main source of traffic to get results. There's no doubt about it. When it works, it's the most powerful platform in the world. But the reality is that Facebook lives still to this day, even though they're a freaking behemoth of a company, by the motto that Zuck started when he started it, which is move fast and break things. Somehow that's still how they think. So I don't know if it's like their teams don't communicate together or I don't know how they run things over there. I've heard, stories from people on the inside, but they're constantly breaking the platform. they just roll careless updates, and it's just, ad accounts get banned for no reason. The AI just flags something, and then there's no customer support. Like, I have a rep, and my rep still doesn't have access to some of the tools to like fix things right away. So it's a nightmare, man. It really is. Like I said, when it works, but like right now it's a mess. It's really, it's a mess.
Yeah,
So
yeah. One of my best friends is a rock star with Facebook ads for the B2B stuff that she does,
yeah.
and they do millions of dollars a month in ads, and she just got her whole everything got deplatformed the other day on accident.
Oh, it's happened to me. It's happened to me. It happened to me a few years ago. I was like, it's called a business manager. This is how you get access to all the accounts and all that stuff. It got flagged for no reason. Just something on the algorithm, just flagged one of the ads or something. It brought the whole thing down, and I didn't have access to it for 3 months. I
Yeah,
literally had to create new profiles, new everything, and move all the clients over to the new one just so I can control the ad accounts. Like, meanwhile, like, I have no access to it. The ad accounts are still spending. I have no idea what's going on. And I'm on the phone trying to teach people how to log into their ad accounts and how to like read things to me so I can show them like what to turn off and what not to turn off. It was a complete nightmare, man. A nightmare.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And it's something that happens all the time too. Like there's whole
all
groups
the
that are just
time.
dedicated to figuring out how to fix it because Facebook doesn't have any damn support to help you fix it.
Perfect example. I launched a brand new store and it was running for a week, and I just started to scale. For those of you that don't know, scaling is when something works and you just triple the budget to take it to the next level or more. And I literally woke up to my first Father's Day to a message on my phone saying that my account has been deactivated. That was my first Father's Day. So I had to reach out to my rep, and then luckily he got it back on right away. But it's like, if you don't have the contacts, if you're a small business, you're screwed, man. It sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
It's small businesses rely on it, and they don't have the support that they need. It's really, it's kind of messed up if you really think about it.
And the only problem too is like there's no recourse for it, right?
Oh
They're a
no.
huge force in the market. I know politically there's some discussion about like Section 420 or something like that, where they get like you can't even sue them over it because they have some sort of special class of thing that, like, if they were acting like a public utility, they wouldn't have those same protections, but they do. So anyways,
Yeah.
like maybe that'll get better in the future, but like for now, it's just they're like, I love the way you call them Lord Zuckerberg, right? They're just in charge of their kingdom, and if you want to play in their kingdom, you play their game, and you have no recourse.
It's the rules, man, and they know it, and I joke with the whole Lord Zuckerberg thing, but the reality is that he probably doesn't even know half of the things going on. He has better things to worry about. I mean, I feel for the guy. I mean, listen, he's built an empire. I don't know how he deals with the stress of basically running your own freaking country that you didn't ask for, but he's still doing it. So props to him on that, on that side of things, because he obviously loves it. But the reality is that the person who's really in charge when it comes to the ad platform is Sheryl Sandberg. She's the one who was in charge from day one when he brought her from Google, if I remember correctly. So, but I don't know, man. There's miscommunication. I don't know if it's just engineers just like, I have an idea. Let's just push this and see what happens. I don't know. But they need to get their stuff together because they're affecting a lot of people, a lot of businesses right now. I couldn't tell you how many stores have gone out of business just because their ads are not performing.
Yeah,
Luckily I'm in a position where I have, good brands, good clients, and I can afford to like pause or do other things to keep it going or at least break even. But most people can't afford a luxury. And it's not only that your ads are not working. If your ads are not working, that's your only source of traffic because it's the most powerful one. It really truly is. There's really none. There's other platforms, but they don't compare to it. Especially for local businesses, right? Like a yoga studio or a restaurant, right? Guess what? If their ads don't work because something's broken in the platform, now people are losing their jobs. They can lose their whole business. It's crazy, man. I mean, most people don't think about it that way.
yeah, yeah, and it's definitely a lot of power in the hands of one company. So, but it is something that you just have to deal, right? You have to grow your business business anyways.
It's the evil empire, man. I need them as much as they need me. So, I need them more than they need me to actually.
Yeah, it's one of those crazy things, right? Like when a platform gets that big, right? You're spending $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month. You don't even show up on their radar.
No, I didn't get a rep until I hit the 500,000 threshold between a couple of
Yeah,
accounts together.
yeah, right. And like that's ad spend, and there are
And that's
companies
not
that don't
even
even
like a
make that in
VIP
revenue.
rep. That's like a level 1 rep. That's like, okay,
Yeah,
I guess you can ask us questions if you really need it. But
yeah,
yeah, man, you don't show up on the radar until you hit about 20 mil, somewhere on there. And that's when you really get the real support. It's crazy.
yeah. So the flip side then of your common enemy is your driving force, right? So just like Spider-Man fights to save New York, or Batman fights to save Gotham, or Google fights to index and categorize all the world's information. What is it that you fight for in your business, your mission, so to speak?
Uh, my mission, what's my mission? Uh, man, to make people happy. I mean, I'm in e-commerce mainly now, and with the YouTube channel too. It's just I enjoy making people happy. Like, there's nothing better to me when I get forwarded emails through my customer service people or from clients, like being happy because of the results they're getting, or the product that they got, they absolutely love. It really makes you, it really pays off for all the hard work that you put into it. You know what I mean? Like, most people don't
Yeah,
get to see behind the scenes. So when you get, even if it's just a review, man, I love seeing those. Like, thank you so much. You have no idea how happy this makes me. Or, my grandmother, that's sick or whatever. I got her this and it made her whole day, or you helped me through this. It makes up for it's amazing, man. That's the best feeling in the world. When somebody leaves me a comment on the YouTube channel, it's like, oh my God, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. People are very thankful, man. People who really want to, happy people, they're really thankful. Don't let the negativity that you see on your newsfeed every day, like, really get to you, because most people are not like that. They're just showing you that because of the engagement. But there's a lot of good
yeah.
people out there, and they're very, very thankful if you do a good job of what you're supposed to do, and if you give them what you promise, and you help them out, basically.
My favorite parts of my day is when I get people who comment on this podcast, right, on YouTube or on somewhere else, and they say, hey, I listened to every episode, or I really like that episode, or this is really good, or whatever. Like, that's my favorite thing. So I
Yeah, it's
totally
the
feel
best,
you
man.
there.
Even if, I mean, my channel's not that big yet because I just started it, right? But I'm just now hitting that threshold where I'm starting to get the hater comments. And when you get haters, that means you made it. It's like I say, haters make me famous. But those suck. I don't know why, but I let them get to me when I shouldn't. It's like, because if you really think about it, that means that, when I used to be really angry, when I'm angry is because I'm not happy at something and it's not related to whatever I'm dealing with. A lot of people take it out on
Yeah,
something else because they're dealing with something that's making their life miserable or angry or whatever. So it's like, I try to not to let them get to me. Thankfully, there's not too many, so I don't let those really get to me. But, it is what it is. Part of it, I guess.
so what I want to talk about next then is the practical portion of our show. I call this the hero's tool belt, right? Just like every superhero has a tool belt with awesome gadgets like batarangs and web slingers and laser eyes and big magical hammers. We want to talk about top 1 or 2 tools you couldn't live without in your business. Could be anything from your notepad to your calendar to your marketing tools to something you use for product delivery. Anything you think is essential to getting the job that you do every day done.
Oh man, I don't want to say Facebook because that's what I use every day. But yeah, I mean, I really can't live without it. If you took Facebook away from me, it's pretty scary to think about. But 3/4 of my business will be absolutely gone. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
mean, as much as I hate to admit it, Facebook for sure. I mean, that's one. Definitely. You know what? My team for sure, man. There's no way I could do everything that I do without my team. And a lot of my team is outsourced throughout the world. So I have people in the Philippines, I have people in India, Mexico, Albania, Russia, and Caracas and Venezuela. And they're amazing, man. They're amazing. I mean, once they've been with me for years, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
they're without them, I wouldn't be successful, and I reward them in the same way because they know it, right? They make my life easier. So for example, like YouTube video, it's Slack. That's the other tool I couldn't live without. We'd all communicate through Slack. So I have different channels on Slack for each different thing. One for YouTube, one for graphic design, one for copywriters, one for, Facebook ads, blah, 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 blah. So when I film for example, a YouTube video, I film the video, whatever the idea is, and all I have to do is just upload it to a Google Drive. My guy gets the notification, and then between him, the graphic designers, to put it all together. And next thing you know, the video's up live on my channel. Like, I didn't have to do anything, besides just shooting the content for it. And I mean, if it wasn't for the stuff that they do for me, there's no way I could do everything that I do. No way. Absolutely no way.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things too, is when I finally learned to start hiring team members and building systems, right? So things like when I upload to a Google Drive, one of my team members gets notified, right? Like having those kind of systems built in my business and having the people there to help support and run those things means that like suddenly you can just do so much more with your time. Right?
And when you take the time to hire these people and you create a company culture, which is, it's fun, but at the same time you get things done, it's actually fun to work, man. I mean, obviously I have, stressful day. Like today's a stressful day because I just have too much on my plate to deal with that I wasn't expecting, but I still enjoy it. It's just a stress, like I have to get it done. You know what I mean? But that's about it. Besides that, every day is a good day, man. I'm so thankful for the life that I have, and that's where people miss the point. We get caught up in the everyday stress and the everyday drama, but most of us, man, especially here in the States, we have it pretty freaking good. Take it from someone who's lived in other places in the world. I'm telling you, like, I wouldn't change it for the world, for sure.
Absolutely.
Speaking of heroic tools, I want to take a few minutes to tell you about a tool we built that powers the Hero Show and is now this show's primary sponsor. Hey there, fellow podcaster. Having a weekly audio and video show on all the major online networks that builds your brand, creates fame, and drives sales for your business doesn't have to be hard. I know it feels that way because you've tried managing your show internally and realize how resource intensive it can be. You felt the pain of pouring 8 to 10 hours of work into just getting 1 hour of content published and promoted all over the place. You see the drain on your resources, but you do it anyways because you know how powerful it is. Heck, you've probably even tried some of those automated solutions and ended up with stuff that makes your brand look cheesy and cheap. That's not helping grow your business. Don't give up though. The struggle ends now. Introducing Push Button Podcasts, a done-for-you service that will help you get your show out every single week without you lifting a finger after you've pushed that stop record button. We handle everything else: uploading, editing, transcribing, writing, research, graphics, publication, and promotion, all done by real humans who know, understand, and care about your brand almost as much as you do. Empowered by our own proprietary technology, our team will let you get back to doing what you love while we handle the rest. Check us out at pushbuttonpodcast.com/hero for 10% off the lifetime of your service with us and see the power of having an audio and video podcast growing and driving micro celebrity status and business in your niche without you having to lift more than a finger to push that stop record button. Again, that's pushbuttonpodcast.com/hero. See you there. And now, back to the Hero Show.
Well, we're rounding out the interview here. I got a couple more questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about your own personal heroes, right? So every hero has their mentors. Frodo had Gandalf, Luke had Obi-Wan, Robert Kiyosaki had his rich dad, Spider-Man had his Uncle Ben. Who were some of your heroes? Were they real-life mentors, speakers, authors, peers who were maybe just a couple years ahead of you? And how important were they to what you've accomplished so far?
I have mentors. My main mentor, I have to say that what I call real life mentor, not like a celebrity that everybody knows, will definitely be John Loger. He's the one who really helped me go to the next level when it comes to getting organized and sales and the consulting side of things, right? As far as like mentors that everybody would know, definitely I love Mark Cuban, man. I think Mark Cuban is so smart. So I really like the way he does things, especially after I lived in Dallas for 10 years. So I saw what he did with the Mavericks from day one to what it is now. And his story is amazing. I mean, he started in sales and, now he's a freaking billionaire. Obviously Elon Musk, I mean, like that dude, man, I can't wrap my head around that. It's like, how do you come up with all this stuff, Peter Thiel, if it wasn't for Peter Thiel, we wouldn't have Facebook. We wouldn't have PayPal. We wouldn't have, a lot of the stuff that we use daily that people take for granted, right? And then Dan Kennedy, for sure. When it comes to marketing, Dan Kennedy is the OG marketer, man. He's the creator of the sales letter.
Bullshit, right?
What was that?
No bullshit.
No bullshit. Yeah. Dan Kennedy, man. Dan Kennedy is the one who's going to teach you to be ruthless in business in the matter of like upsell, like, and don't feel bad about it. You're servicing your clients. So yeah, Dan Kennedy, man. And then I think that's pretty much it. I want to say, you know what? I got to throw Russell Brunson in there because his books really helped me a lot when I was still learning. So, but Russell learned from Dan Kennedy. And that's how I found, Dan Kennedy. So, but you can't take Russell away. He's the real deal
Kennedy,
too.
and like if you get into it, you've gone through Dan Kennedy, you might find yourself in Jay Abraham's books or Peter Drucker's books.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, man. I wish I had more time and this attention span to read more books. A lot of them I do, through audiobooks when I'm in the car or whatever. But man, if one superpower if I could have one superpower is one that I could read a whole book in like 30 seconds and actually retain all the information in one read. You know what I mean? Imagine that, man.
Yeah.
That would be so
That'd be
cool.
amazing.
Huh?
So I actually learned a thing about that. With audio, when you listen to a book, it takes 18 times of hearing the information to retain it.
I
With
believe
visual,
it.
so reading, it only takes 5, which is why you retain information better when you read it than when you listen to it. But you just can't multitask like reading is such a dedicated thing, right? You have to make the time for it. They're like, I know there's people who read so much, but it's you definitely have to really make time for it in your life.
So I grew up reading a lot since I was a kid. I always enjoyed reading. And one thing that I know for a fact is that my attention span is completely shot from being in social media all day long, man. It really is. Like I used to be able to sit down and read like chapters. I'm talking about 3-4 chapters in one sitting and retain the information. Now, forget it. Like I'll be like 5 pages in and like my mind is like, what did I just read? Like, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things that I've been working on, to try to bring it back to what it was. But it's kind of
Yeah.
if I can,
When I was in high school, I used to read books all night. Like I would just not sleep and read the whole book from cover to cover. And then my mom would be like, "Did you sleep last night?" I'm like, no, I stayed up with a flashlight reading all night.
That's so cool, man. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. So what I do now, it's like when I read, I actually do it first thing in the morning. So I wake up, grab a cup of coffee, and I don't even look at my phone because I know if I open my phone, that's the end of that. And I try to read at least one chapter. And it works because your mind's fresh, so you don't have all those distractions yet. And that seems to work for me. So I don't know. I've been doing it for a while, so we'll see if it stays that way.
Awesome. So my last question for you here is about your guiding principles, right? So one of the things that makes heroes heroic is that they live by a code. For instance, Batman never kills his enemies. He only ever brings them to Arkham Asylum. So as we wrap up the interview, I'm going to talk about top 1, maybe 2 principles that you use regularly in your life. Maybe something you wish you knew when you first started out on this whole entrepreneur's journey.
Honesty, man. Honesty. I mean, being from a background of sales and I've trained salespeople and, just from being in this industry of digital marketing, there's a lot of scams out there. I brought it up when we first started that people think that you can get rich overnight. Most people have been doing this for a long, the ones that you see that are real, successful, they didn't do it overnight, man. It took some time. There's very, very few far in between stories where it literally happened in a matter of weeks or months or whatever. It takes a lot of work. So don't fall for all that stuff. Make sure you do your research and just honesty in general, man. Just be a good person. You know what I mean? Treat people with the respect that they deserve and how you want to be treated. We're all equal. That's the way I look at it. And if you do that, you should be good, good karma.
I always loved the definition of integrity as being something that you could lean on and trust. Right. Like, so like, your house or your table has integrity when, you can lean on it. It's not, the chair's not going to collapse out from under you, right? You want to be that kind of person that, when you say something, when you do something that they can trust you. And that's where the whole honesty and integrity thing comes.
I like that analogy. I like that a lot, for sure. Especially, when you're dealing with clients and you're playing, I shouldn't say playing with their money, but you're spending their money, right, to try to get them results. And, when things are bad because it's out of your control or whatever, like Facebook did that or Google's doing this or whatever, tell them straight up, set the expectations. Like, listen, this is what's going on. Even if you don't get the sale, man, don't lie, because trust me, if you lie from the get-go, it's just going to turn into a nightmare down the road. So you're going to look bad. Your client's going to be pissed off. Like, just don't do it. Just be an honest person on whatever you do. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated, and you should be good in life in general, man. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. So that's basically a wrap on our interview, but I do finish every interview with a simple challenge I call the Heroes Challenge. We do this basically as a selfish thing to help me get access to stories I might not otherwise find on my own. So the question is simple. Do you have someone in your life or in your network that you think has a cool entrepreneurial story? Who are they? First names are fine. Why should they come share their story on our show? First person that comes to mind.
Oh my God, I know so many. Phil Caprano. He's one of my mentors. I didn't even mention his name earlier, but he started as a DJ, man. He started as a DJ in Canada, and then somehow he ended up in this world. And he's one of the most successful people that I know in e-commerce, and he has a couple of brands. So you should definitely talk to him. I'll put you in contact with him for sure.
Awesome, that'll be cool. So now it's time for the send-off, right? In comic books, there's always the crowd of people who stand by and cheer and clap for the acts of heroism from the hero. So as we close, what I want to do is find out, where can people find you if they want your help in the future? Where can they light up the bat signal, so to speak, and say, hey, Christian, can you come help me with my Facebook ads and my e-com business? Right. And I think, more importantly, where they can go is, who are the right types of people or brands to reach out and say, hey, we'd love to get your help.
Absolutely. So if you're an e-commerce brand and you're already doing 6 figures in sales, go to pixelfeedmedia.com, and that's pixelfeed, Pixl, feedmedia.com. We will definitely help you go to 7, 8, 9 and beyond in figures. If you're starting out and you're trying to learn Facebook ads, digital marketing, copywriting, sales, and stuff like that, you can go to my YouTube channel. Just search my name, Christian Lovrecich, or Pixelfeed. It'll come up. Again, Pixlfeed. If you want to listen to the podcast where I just, I bring on entrepreneurs, tell their stories for how they got successful and to where they're at, Pixel Feed Radio. And those are the 3 places. And you can find me on Facebook. I have a group on Facebook as well. It's called Pixel Feed. Just search Pixel Feed and everything will come up. You'll find me everywhere.
Come up. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we get links to all that in the show notes. Christian, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Do you have any final words of wisdom for the audience before I hit the stop record button?
Hey, take care of yourself, work hard, and it'll pay off. Trust me, it'll pay off. At first, it doesn't seem that way, but if you stick to it long enough, you'll reap the rewards at the end, especially in this business. I have a lot of students that want overnight success, and I have to drill it in their heads that they have to learn it first. My first 3 stores were a failure. They failed miserably, but I learned a lot from them, and that's what makes my other ones successful. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's so true. I always tell people, you vastly underestimate what you can accomplish in a year, or overestimate what you can accomplish in a year, and vastly underestimate what you can accomplish in 10, right? So be willing to put in the time.
Yeah, obviously don't go for a fail. I mean, that's not your goal to fail, but if you do, just learn from it. Move on, man. I'm telling you, it's a lot worse in your head than it really is. So just move it to the side. Don't be emotionally attached, and just keep moving forward, and it'll pay off at the end.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Christian. Appreciate having you on the show today.
Thanks for having me, man. I really enjoyed it.